Pep Guardiola has another chance to rotate his Manchester City squad ahead of another assault on the Premier League title race as Burnley visit in the FA Cup. City come into the fourth-round tie on the back of a 1-0 win at Burton in the Carabao Cup, where Guardiola picked a side featuring fringe players, experienced first-teamers, and youngsters looking to impress. The result was a disjointed performance on a difficult pitch, but the safe passage through to the Carabao Cup final was far more important than trying to match the 9-0 scoreline from the first leg. Guardiola rested many first-choice players like Raheem Sterling, Leroy Sane, David Silva, Kyle Walker and Aymeric Laporte against Burton, and he may be tempted to keep them out once more for the visit of the Clarets. But Burnley will pose a greater threat than Burton, and the City manager confirmed there would be no academy players involved in the FA Cup. So he must choose a side capable of reaching the fifth round, while also protecting his squad ahead of the Premier League clash with Newcastle on Tuesday. Read how our writers predict Pep Guardiola will line up his side versus Burnley, and have a go yourself using the widget below. Simon Bajkowski. The way Guardiola spoke ahead of this game suggested City will be considerably stronger than Burton as the manager hunts down the only major piece of silverware in English football he has yet to win. Bruyne did fine in the holding role at Burton, but you'd expect to see him back in his preferred position as he builds his form back up, even if he is hooked before 90 minutes. I wouldn't be surprised to see Fernandinho back with Ilkay Gundogan completing the middle of the park. Riyad Mahrez and Gabriel Jesus should start, and it's a toss of a coin over Raheem Sterling or Leroy Sane. At the back, Nicolas Otamendi and John Stones can come into the team with Fabian Delph on the left and Kyle Walker on the right. Bray Guardiola's team should be more experienced than the side that played Burton, but there is still room for rotation. Aro Muric should play, and John Stones can partner Nicolas Otamendi partnership in the centre. Benjamin Mendy returned from injury, but there is no need to rush him, so Oleksandr Zinchenko can play at left back again. Foden struggled at Burton, but the Etihad is a much better place for him to express himself. Ilkay Gundogan can help him along, while Fabian Delph can play again after a decent showing in his favoured midfield position in midweek. Gabriel Jesus has been dropped for Sergio Aguero in the past two matches, so is likely to be recalled, while Raheem Sterling could play on the wing opposite Riyad Mahrez. A second-half swap for Leroy Sane will keep him and Sterling fresh for the Newcastle game. Dan O'Toole. It would be far from surprising to see Pep Guardiola field a strong side against Burnley as he hunts down the fourth major domestic cup of his managerial career. As such, a midfield pairing of Bernardo Silva and Kevin De Bruyne should be sufficient to outplay a Burnley side who, you would think, will prioritise Premier League safety over FA Cup success this season. Ilkay Gundogan has proven his worth in the holding role behind them, for a game of this nature at least, with John Stones and Nicolas Otamendi, who Guardiola admitted was unhappy about his lack of game time. The defensive pairing. Riyad Mahrez's delivery could prove a useful tool for breaking down a stubborn Burnley defense, with Gabriel Jesus through the middle as he looks to continue his impressive run of goal-scoring form since the turn of the year.